Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yo, this is Priesthood Uncut. You here with Priest and Officer of 1,000 Ricard R.E.R. coming to you straight out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yahanna. This is I.S.U.P.K. Boston. And let me put you on game to something right now. I am here with a priest that is very famous in Israel. The man knows like 1,000 languages. The man is everywhere. His face is everywhere on all platforms. You know what I'm saying? And I am here with the one, the only, Officer Baraqyaahla.
Hey,
Give it up,
so
Officer Baraqyaahla.
y'all watching
You know what I'm saying? I gotta give out the warning, yo. This show is rated 1 West. It's for mature audiences only. Don't get hurt. Don't let your feelings get hurt. If you're sensitive, just move on. You know what I'm saying? But we here with Priest and Officer Baraqyaahla. What's going on, Priest?
Hey, y'all watching Shabbat Thumb to all the brothers, y'all watch Shamala, Thumb watching, y'all shout to all the sisters. And I have to remain as humble as I can be. I do not know 1,000 languages, but the water for the kind words. So my mouth will cut.
But how many languages do you know? Because you seem to be speaking like when we on Bigo or TikTok or whatever, you have some clown thinking that you don't like. We're just a bunch of dumb Negroes who only know English, and they start speaking in the language, and you end up correcting them because you understand what they're saying. How many languages do you actually know?
To be fair, so I'm perfectly fluent in French, which is my first language, and English. Then I do practice Spanish, Portuguese. I started practicing Italian, Greek, Slovakia, and the last one, Kodash as well. And as a French Benjamite, native of Martinique, which is one of the French, quote unquote, overseas territory in the Caribbean, I do understand certain Creoles, like mine, the one from Guadeloupe, Dominica, St. Lucia, French Guyana, and a bit of Haitian Creole as well.
All right, that sounds like a lot.
A lot, yeah.
But what was it like growing up French Creole, then coming to Canada? Tell me what that experience was like.
Well, in my family, only my father and myself are born on the island. My siblings are born in Canada, but I didn't grow up on the island. My dad did, and so my cousins. So I came here about a year and a half, 2 years old, I would like to say at the most. And I think there's a misconception. People think of Canada like a Switzerland of America, where everybody's accepted, whatever the case is, which is absolutely incorrect. Especially when you're one of the 12 tribes. There's a big misconception that Canada is just welcoming everybody open arms. That's lie. Especially when you don't speak French in Montreal.
That is a conception that we have in America about Canada that is just super nice. Everybody eating pancakes with maple syrup and just saying A all day. But you understand the true dark side of Canada. Can you give us a little information on your personal experiences with it?
Well, one thing is in the school system, first of all, right? We know, especially even in the world coming to the truth, right? The first time I heard about I.S.U.P.K being the home of the truth, I just had to double check a lot of things that they were saying to be really convinced that, yeah, I.S.U.P.K is the home of the truth, And one of the only things that I already knew is that we were lied in school about how, the devil acquired the Americas. In school, they don't teach us about they committed genocide, they slaughtered the natives. I taught a history class about that, where 2/3 of the slaves, as a matter of fact, in Canada, were of so-called indigenous descent. Only 1/3 was black. You don't learn about that in school, especially I think in contrast to America, speaking about slavery in Canada is really taboo. So that's one thing that you actually could pay attention to and you realize. Then again, coming back to the fact that Canada is a misconception, that it's like Switzerland of America. Canada is really racist. And the province I'm in, which is the province of Quebec, is damn near considered the most racist province in Canada, which is really like I forgot what's the term of it, but the whole Canada, considering the fact that Canada is a graveyard as a whole, I would say the whole country is racist. Whether it's Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, they're racist everywhere. I guess you get to see a bigger difference because you had to have really in my city specifically. My city is divided in two, the city of Montreal, where the west side is really where you're going to see more English-speaking people, especially Benjamites, and the French, and the east side is going to be mostly French. So if you don't speak not one lick of French in Montreal, you're going to experience more racism than if you speak French. So that's another thing.
That makes you wonder how it is in Quebec then. Quebec ain't leaving that French. But here's a question, right? All right, you're going through all this, you're experiencing all this in Canada. What made you search for, basically, what was your introduction to the I.S.U.P.K? How were you searching for it, and how did you come across it?
Really, I guess I was in high school, right? I was in high school and we were just doing what I would describe as immature things, right, in the world. And coming back from high school, I still had dreads back then because I grew up as a Rastafarian. So coming back from high school, I met this other cat with dreads. I guess he was from Toronto. He was selling these books called How to Hustle and Win. I was just intrigued because I'm like, you know what? My dad been telling me this my whole life. Always read books, to always stay instructed, to always stay educated, read books about whatever, even to ameliorate or to better your speech, to learn different words. So I bought the book for $20 and I just let it go. And I don't remember what got me looking to the book again, but I bought the part 2 of the book, which is How to Hustle and Win part 2. And in this book, the part 2, you have little sections in between chapters, I think, I don't recall, where it asks you to watch certain movies to watch or documentaries. One of them was Sankofa. And in the YouTube, on the right-hand side, you see related videos. You had a bunch of fake Israelites. So I was clicking throughout the fake Israelite. I think I seen HOY at the time. I've seen a couple so-called fake Israelite groups. Then some of the few videos that I remember that brought me in the truth was one of them was commending John Yahanna with his red garments, telling, I think it was the Spaniard devil that, he's guilty of his crimes. I'm just paraphrasing. There was a Nigerian, I think it was with Captain War, right? The Nigerian, also Captain Mashad. Khan. I remember that. I remember the confrontation with what's this cat's name? The big cat from GMS.
I forgot his name, but yeah, he was the cross dresser. I know who you're talking about.
Oh, good, nice. Well, these are the few clips that I remember that really stirred me in the truth. And it's like the home of the truth, and I had to go back to reading the Bible,
Right.
And there's other few clips really that I'm like, damn, it's really damn near all the camp tapes. And speaking in New York, in Times Square, to these devils and to these half faggots, coons, so it was like, yeah, I started making my research again. And so at some point, funny thing is, my mom decided to take a family trip, in the Caribbean. They're supposed to go to Jamaica. I brought up Martinique, so they ditched me and they went to Martinique. But that summer, I had the house to myself and I was studying the UPK and watching the videos and looking for classes, for clips. I remember the grill, At the time, you had to call in. You still had to call in to ask questions, in class. So I contacted Captain Mashak on Facebook. That's what I remember. And he told me, I'm just paraphrasing. I don't remember how the conversation went, but I asked him about, my father's side, my mother's side, because she's a heathen. He said, it doesn't matter. Um, we're not in Montreal yet. You're gonna have to build a zone. That's what I remember. Just paraphrasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot if it's Captain Kahan who sent me some Hebrew study material to my Gmail. So I started studying, you know. But at first I was really watching mostly Captain Mashak because I recognized his accent. I'm like, as a Benjamite, I just gravitate more towards listening to Captain Mashak's class up till this day. Captain Mashak's class, if you don't know, these are the most powerful classes in the UPK. I'm not trying to demean any class of of other men above me. It's just me personally. Captain Mashak is who resonated with me most, I guess, because it's a Benjamite thing.
I understand you fully because the simple fact is Captain Mashak is one of my favorite teachers too. And it's not really tribal, it's really his personality.
Kanawakan.
He knows how to bring things across and still throw a joke in every now and then. Like some brothers got that personality, some don't. Like General Muhammad knows how to throw a joke in every now and then. Some brothers can't. Some brothers just shoot scriptures after scriptures, breakdown after breakdown. But when you are able to bring the scriptures to an understanding that is relatable to your world, which is something Captain Mashak and the generals know how to do, most captains know how to do, is know how to make the scriptures relatable to your world. And that's
Kanawakan.
what is so ill with it, because he makes you understand it in the most niggerish way possible. That's why he's so ill with it. But you know what I'm saying? All right, so you went to school, right? You're doing your thing.
All right, so Laki, so if I may add,
No,
one
go ahead.
thing that I remember about Captain Mashak, he was saying, I think he said, of course, you know, uh, applied correction if I'm wrong, but the thing is that he was like, yeah, y'all not gonna be in the school with dreads. Like I think a week before my family came back from their trip, because I was in a chalet in a cottage, right, for the week before. When I came back, like, you know what, I'm coming back. I'm working on stop smoking weed, and I'm cutting my dreads right away. And listen, I cut my dreads right away. That same day, I'm like, yeah, listen, I'm committed to that. I'm cutting my dreads right away.
So now I got a question. All right, you cut your dread. Your family on vacation. They on chill mode. They come back. They see you dreadless. How did they react?
Well, that day, I went to see my dad. First of all, on my way to my dad's house. One of my brethren see me. He didn't realize I cut my dreads. I don't know how. I had the longest dress in my family. A lot. Shit. I see my dad. My dad was vexed. My dad was like, "Yeah, you're not my son." Then he apologized the next day, but they kind of heard that day. Could have heard like, "Damn, that's all it took." You know? But
Hey,
yeah, he's like, "Yeah, it's your choice." I was like in my early 20s. You know, it was like contention. Yeah, cutting my dreads was brought contention in my family where they figured out who I was listening to. They thought, you know what? So you're being brainwashed or whatever the case is. And until then, I never really understood the term brainwash, where really, yeah, the UPK brainwashes you in a sense. It washes the filth off of your brain, off of your mind that you grew up listening to.
mm-hmm.
And at the time, was me and my brother were sharing rooms for the longest time in our lives. And I didn't really wear earbuds, whatever. So he's watching me listen to class, watching me listen to camp. He's like, "Yo, you're gonna go on the street with these niggas?" I say, "Yeah." That I don't believe you. Shit. Next thing you know, I'm a I'm a trooper, and shit, my first camp was in Toronto. That was the first day I met with Officer Zabadia. You understand? And he was like, "Damn, these are my brothers for life." You know, and I would never turn back to the world for any reason, whatsoever. For I don't know, make me win the lottery. I'm not going back to the world.
So now you bring up another question, right? You're at your first camp. You know what I'm saying? What position were you in? Were you a young man on the side? Were you a trooper? Were you an officer? What was it like?
I was a trooper. I was stressed as hell. I can't lie, because especially growing up in the world, it's like me growing up, like I was kind of not necessarily a shy kid, but I was kind of reserved to a certain extent. Where damn, not I'm out here in public and I have to read out loud and make sure I'm being heard, surrounded by all types of people that I don't know. You know, after like 2 camps, and especially when I became an officer starting to teach class, that just faded away. But I was never really the type to just be out here. So my first camp, to be honest, wasn't comfortable, but I was with my brothers. It was not even about something that could happen. It was just me being out there in the open and just being loud as hell. 'Cause usually in the world, us, I mean, when I say us, it was like some of my friends, whatever the case is, it was always about stupidness. And you know now doing actually something positive, it was never really me, to be honest, in the world like that.
All right. Now, tell me what that first camp speaking was like that you actually spoke, that you were doing. Tell me what that was about, how that felt.
The first camp speaking, I had to get used to it. I actually got checked by Officer Knock, Slovakia, you know, and not because of the first camp speaking, but after a few camp speaking, it's like at some point, when you're trying to catch yourself, either when you're breaking down something or you're breaking down the scripture or you're trying to relate it to like a specific event, whatever you're talking about, your topic. We used to say, "Yo, yeah, you understand, you understand, you understand," too often. Where it's like I remember also not, checking us with like, "Yo, you need, just let it flow. Don't keep saying you understand, you understand, you understand every 2 minutes." You know. So I think my first 2, 3 camps, that's really what it was. Even in French, I say vous comprenez, and it's like, yeah, and you gotta switch it up. Gotta just let it flow and keep on flowing. It's tawab. If you're gonna catch yourself at some point. But that was, for the most part, that was it. And then make sure that my voice carries. Having a loud voice is not the issue, but it was just adapting to being out here in the crowd. That was really mostly my thing that I needed to adapt to.
It's funny. It's funny that you bring that out because when I was coming up, in the Florida camp, I noticed a lot of brothers saying, you understand, you understand. So I focused on not saying it. And guess what? I still said it. We might have to say that you understand this UPK culture because I literally focused on not saying it my whole time. Actually, to this day, I focus on not saying you understand, but I still say it. It's just UPK culture. But you are a pillar in the UPK media department because you are literally everywhere. You in Mexico, you in the UK, you are in, what I'm saying, France, French Caribbean, Canada, the West Coast with La Piraneta. Like, what moves are you making in social media right now that you need to let everybody know?
Yeah, first of all, I ain't shit without my brothers. I can't take credit like that. But really, y'all go subscribe to every single ISPK channel, whether I'm on here or not. It's irrelevant. Me being on any channel is just another brother under command in Yahanna pushing for the truth. So whether it's me saying it in English, or any brother saying in English, all the so-called Issacharite brothers, Ephraimites, whatever tribe in whatever language we say it, you understand? We're just pushing out the same exact thing, you understand, and trying to bring our people home. So you're gonna get the same thing from ISUPK, Southern California, Northern Cali, right? Memphis, Mississippi, headquarters, Puerto Rico, Mexico, wherever we are, is going to be the exact same thing. It's just going to be a different brother saying it. That's it. And really, it's going to be the same brother saying it regardless because we are one body, right? But at the end of the day, subscribe to every single ISUPK channel, whether it's Montreal, Toronto, on all social media, Detroit, you understand? Every single UPK channel, where on whatever social media, just type in ISUPK, right? And look for the closest ISUPK in your zone. As far as social media that I'm on, being on La Pura Neta was was a total accident, and the UK as well. I was not supposed to be on here that long. That's all I'm saying. You know,
You're everywhere. I.S.U.P.K. Mexico, La Piraneta, you know what I'm saying, UK. But here's the thing. You also on Beagle. Tell us about that battleground on Beagle. How do you feel about that battleground? Is it fruitful or should we just chuck it to the side?
so like, yeah, I guess we could give a double insight on it because you and I, sir, we got on Bigo at the same damn time, literally probably the same damn night, right? So,
I'm interviewing you. I have no opinion.
so like, but me personally, I had heard about Beagle before. I think when I was a trooper, Officer Adiyar, 1000 Adiyar, Banlaya in my zone, was trying to get me on Beagle, just to start maybe like baiting some people into coming to class, or I don't want to say bait, but to steer them in, whatever the case is. But on Beagle, if you don't start building your algorithm by going to certain rooms, you're gonna see a lot of fuckery. Salakia, you know. So, I forgot who was telling us about it again. How we ended up exactly on it. I think it's after speaking with Officer. I think it's after speaking with Officer Kazak Tamar, really, right? Or Mashamar, right? We got on Beagle and we realized because especially yourself, myself, and Officer Kodam from Fayetteville, we were killing it on the TikTok lives, you know, and with Officer Malakma as well from Southern California. Sometimes like we were boosting the 10,000 views for them near a month, almost every night, until we got started getting shadow banned. And unlike TikTok, Bigo is not as restrictive with the language. You could call it sodomite, the F word for sodomites, and not get clipped. Salakia. I know I'm going to be on YouTube. That's why I had to say it like this. The point is, Bigo is really a different battleground where it's not as restrictive and it's easier to reach different people in different zones. Your location doesn't affect the algorithm. Like I go into some French rooms sometime where I can see a lot of French Benjamites, even though I'm in Montreal physically. And I would say it's fruitful in a sense where there's a sister, I think she said she did call Captain Mawakwad and Captain Baraqyaahla. She was supposed to be at the cookout. For whatever reason, she didn't make it. There's a lot of fake Israelites who actually are tuning into the Lashawan Kodash class whenever Kodam from Fayetteville teaches it. A lot of people ask a lot of questions. I refer like so far like 4 or 5 brothers and sisters included to the school in the UK. Whether they call it now, they come to the building is different, but there's more people inquiring about it and then asking what is the difference between these different camps and why are you guys different whatsoever. And ever since we stepped in, I wouldn't say us necessarily, but UPK took ground and we took over Beagle at this point. To the point where a lot of people, even some fake Israelites, they go into some rooms like, you guys' room, even though we don't necessarily agree with y'all, it's not like we're gonna get cussed out right away by other people, by the Muslims or the other fake Israelites or whatever the case is. You come into a room and you're not gonna be treated unfairly like in other rooms. You understand? I would say it is a great app to that could be bearing a lot of fruits, right? Especially the way we run it, because we run Beagle at this moment. Wherever the platform we run, to be honest.
You're absolutely right. And yo, my first take on Bigo was literally before I even came into the truth. Bigo was not a new app. I came up on there and literally it was so aggravating to me. So much things were going on. It's like too much. You know what I'm saying? You can barely see what you're supposed to be looking at. You know, you got the chat, you got all these things, you got things popping up like crazy. Like, I'm like, yo, I ain't got time for this. So I got rid of the app. And next thing you know, Officer Kazak, he, taking ground on Beagle. So I decided to join him. And he already set up shop, you know what I'm saying? And as soon as I made that, because I couldn't remember my old job. But basically, I had to make a whole new profile, made a new profile, and still the same BS. But like you were saying, when you gotta focus on what you're into, and the algorithm will change. You don't have to worry about, these hostros twerking. You know what I'm saying? My algorithm is mostly Bible talk or cooking, because I like food. Sorry, y'all.
You know who's the best cook though?
We ain't gonna talk about it. We already know it. We already know it. But you know what I'm saying? All right, we only got 2 minutes. Yo, give your shout outs, let them know how to plug in with you. You know what I'm saying? Let them know where you at. Talk to the people.
First and foremost, big up Command and Joel Yahanna. You understand? Who laid out the foundation for all the men above us, and above me and under us, and the sisters, the young man, and even those in the world that are tuning in, whether it's to cross the line, to all the podcasts we have, La Pura Neta, those who come into the cookhouse, whatever the case is, would not be possible without Command and John Yahanna, who stood strong and never dropped the sword. You understand? Command and John Yahanna is the best example we got in the nation right now. Right? He's the greatest role model, damn near the only role model we have. When I say that, I'm not trying to say that the men above us are not role models, but when you look at the leaders in our community, we never had a leader like Command and John Yahanna. You understand? Just to steer us the right way. Whether it was Martin Luther King, whether it was Marcus Garvey, you understand, Pancho Villa, it didn't matter. In any so-called Black, Latino, and Native community, we never had a leader like Commander John Yahanna to steer us the right way. Then big ups to all the generals, the captains, the officers above me, the officers under me, the troopers, the sisters, you understand? I.S.U.P.K will give you something that you definitely never had before, is a family that is united. You understand? Right. Big ups to that. And again, subscribe to all social media of any I.S.U.P.K zone, from Toronto, Montreal, France, Martinique, Brazil, Alaska, Haiti, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Latino America. Listen, just look for that closest I.S.U.P.K in your zone. That's it. And we'll get to you. If we're not there yet, we'll be there, and we'll stay there.
Damn right. And with that, we're going to close this up. Just remember, this is Priesthood Uncut. You know what I'm saying? You want to know what a priest is? Come watch us. You're going to see the priest of the I.S.U.P.K show you what a priest is. You got, I'm going to have this be a call-in, sooner or later, where you can get your questions answered, your problem solved, so forth and so on. And with that, shalom.
Shalom.